Hey, fellow mathers, welcome to the podcast where math is figure-outable.
We're popping in to share that we'll be hosting another free Math is Figure-Outable challenge.
Woohoo!
Registration isn't open quite yet, but we'll let you know when it is. The best way to get all the info is to join our newsletter.
Y'all, you can join our newsletter at mathisfigureoutable.com/get-newsletter. That's mathisfigureoutable.com/get-newsletter.
This challenge will run from September 3rd through 5th. Join our email list at mathisfigureoutable.com/get-newsletter to get all the details.
Hey, fellow mathers, welcome to the podcast where math is figure-outable. I'm Pam, a former mimicker turned mather.
And I'm Kim, a reasoner who now knows how to share her thinking with others. At Math is Figure-Outable, we are on a mission to improve math teaching.
Because we know that algorithms are amazing human achievements, but they are terrible teaching tools because mimicking step-by-step procedures actually traps students into using less sophisticated reasoning than the problems are intended to develop.
In this podcast, we help you teach mathing, building relationships with your students and grappling with mathematical relationships.
Thanks for joining us to make math more figure-outable.
Hi.
Hey. How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
I'm good. How do you like the new mic that we're using?
Well, I hope that our podcast person likes it and we're not too loud.
Hope our editor is okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, listeners, you have to tell us if you can tell if there's a difference. Yeah.
Maybe it's super clean.
You're
maybe
like,
it makes our words better too. Maybe.
It's like not just crisper, but actually better. Okay.
No, we sound smarter.
We'll go with that. That works.
Okay. Hey, we got this great review. And it it said long overdue review.
It's never too late. Never too late.
So
thank you.
Jay Stinger Benton said, I love podcasts. For over a decade, I've been listening to education-related podcasts on my commute to school. Ooh. When I started a new position as a math interventionist, I searched for a podcast that could help. Finding Pam and Kim has changed my life. I began listening 3 years ago to become a better teacher, but in the process, I have gained so much awareness about my own mathematical thinking.
Oh, I love that.
I'm now able to take my newly found knowledge and confidence into the classroom and share with students and among colleagues. With so many fixed mindsets and the fake mathing that exists in schools, it feels like an insurmountable task, but I'm convinced that the Math is Figure-Outable movement will prevail. Spread the word.
Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Jay Stinger Benton.
Yeah. I feel like
I love that.
A lot of comments like that, either from the podcast or maybe in the teacher Facebook group that we have, where people say, I intended to listen or to do something with you guys as a way to help my students, but what I realized was that it was changing me, my mindset, my understanding, and then I get excited and I wanted to want to help my students and my colleagues. So I think that's a huge goal of ours, and we're excited.
Absolutely, and it's never too late. Long overdue review. I like it. Yeah, y'all
never too late.
Give us a review, give us a rating, helps more people find the podcast, and then more people can have that journey, just like Jay Stinger Benton did. Hey, and Jay Stinger Benton, we'd love to invite you to check out our Math is Figure-Outable solution to work with your school and your district. We do that, listeners, so check it out. Hit the website, let's chat.
All right. One of the things we do, as you know, are create fantastic workshops. And recently we were at a workshop filming. And when I go, one of my jobs is to notice things that are happening. I pay attention to the words that Pam's saying and
make sure, like, in case I have to correct them. Yep.
And we're like staying on track for what we want to accomplish. We always way overpack these workshops.
It's the worst.
And I'll say to Pam at a break, yeah, we're going to have to.
What are you going to fit in? What are you going to speed up? What are you going to cut? I'll just say, no, we can get it all in. You're like, Pam, you have to make a choice.
Lunchtime, sometimes I have really hard conversations. It's just, there's so much to do. It's so much to do. And anyway.
Well, and you helped me realize that if we don't decide what to cut, then what we were going to do at the end gets cut. Yeah. And so let's make a decision. But yeah, you used to make me so mad when you would say that. I was like, shut up. I'm just going to get it all done. And you're like, so we've tried that. How many times?
Well, at this particular workshop, we are. At this particular workshop, the more recent one, I started to notice when you were talking to the participants and record these noticings that you were naming mathematical behaviors for participants as they were happening. And I've heard you do this kind of, here and there on occasion, but in this workshop, it felt like something must have been on your mind because
Mm.
you were saying it more often. And I think our participants really appreciated, they sat up taller and they felt like, what they were doing mattered. So when I say mathematical behaviors, I don't mean just necessarily the standards for mathematical practice and what
Those are fine.
practice
Those are
standards.
good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But those weren't what you're naming. You weren't saying, this is practice standard number 2. But you were naming things that people were doing when they were cognitively involved in the work they were doing, when they were mathing. And so I made a list of these things, and
Huh.
I want to share those with you. I don't know if you've seen them all, but I want to share the ones that I jotted down, and I'd like for you to give an example of what you mean when you say this to
Okay.
somebody. Okay. So one of them you named was that is fantastic mathematical behavior where you look back and you recognize what I could have done.
Right. So that happens when somebody has done their best job. When you solve a problem, you usually use your best instinct. You don't say to yourself, I'm going to solve this with the least inefficient, unsophisticated. You do your best to solve it. But then it's a mathematical behavior to not be done at that point. Oh, I got the right
Right.
answer. I'm done. Or I got the wrong answer. Well, I'm done. And so then you just walk away. But somebody in the workshop had solved the problem and then had said, "Oh, now that I've got the relationships in my head. Now I'm looking up outside. I'm sort of from a bird's eye view, and I'm realizing that I could have done something more sophisticated or more slick or more
Mm-hmm.
clever." That's a mathematical thing to do.
Yeah.
Mathematicians don't just stop when they get an answer. They look at
Yep.
it from a different perspective. They're interested in that. There you go.
Yeah, I think this happens in workshops or in classrooms when people have the freedom to a teacher's not moving on right away. They're not like, okay, cool, you
Mm-hmm.
got an answer, move on. And I think this particular behavior helps people become more efficient over time. So
Well, and,
another,
and if I can also
yeah,
say, and it's not just that the teacher's not going too fast. It's also that the conversation isn't about the answer. It's about the way you got there. And so then, and we're targeted.
hmm
Often we're trying to develop a particular relationship that leads to a particular strategy. And so it gives people an opportunity to go, well, oh, for this problem, it didn't occur to me it didn't occur to me that I could have done that, but now it does. Now
yeah,
oh, okay, all right. Now that I'm listening, I'm looking. Now I can see
hmm
it. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, another behavior you named was to be curious, and you often say seeking for the aha moments.
Yeah, nice. I was just in Virginia with an amazing crowd. Man, they were so responsive and just super engaged. And one of the things that happened several times, but a particular time was one of the participants was sharing their strategy. And y'all, this was in a big room. I think there's 200 people in the room. And somebody was sharing their strategy, and across the room, big ballroom, across the room, a participant said, "Ooh," and I was like, "Oh yeah, like how many of you right now are like, I want that. I want to come up with a strategy that where I get the ooh." And so now we're kind of building this community where it's not about I was fastest, I was first done, I got the right answer, I'm cool. It's not that. Now it's ooh, I did something clever enough that I got the ooh factor.
hmm
So now we're seeking for the ooh factor. We're trying to be not stupid clever, not like I don't know what's a good word for that. Not like
Complicated, convoluted for no good reason.
thank you that, but like actually
Stupid
slick.
clever.
Thanks for defining stupid clever for me. But you're curious to see like how can I understand the relationships even better to now come at it like I'm seeking for that ooh factor, that
Yeah,
aha moment. Yeah.
yeah. Another thing I jotted down was it's a mathematical behavior to compare strategies.
Yeah. So in the workshop you're talking about, one of the
Yeah.
participants had said, well, my partner did this, but I did that, and I'm noticing these connections. And
hmm
so, yeah, that's a mathematical behavior that we're not done with the answer.
hmm
Really, we're trying to build our brains to math, and so we're curious to compare. Yep.
And when you can find things to compare, the similarities and the differences, I think that really strengthens when you would want to use one particular strategy over another. Like
Oh, nice.
why did these strategies work really well for this problem? And
Mm.
would that be true for other problems?
What was it about the number and the
Yeah.
structure that, yeah, nice.
Yeah. Another time you said something about it's a great mathematical behavior to have choice.
Yeah, like recognizing that you have choice and that you're making a choice because of something. Kind of like what we just said, depending on the numbers or the structure, I'm going to choose this strategy. It's not a mathematical behavior to go, okay, where have I seen this problem before? How have I seen someone else do it? Can I
Mm-hmm.
mimic those steps?
Mm-hmm.
Like mathematicians don't do that. They don't mimic steps. They might say, where have I seen this kind of problem before? And does
Mm-hmm.
that bring other relationships to mind? But not in a retrieve from rote memory so that I can mimic kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
It would be in a how can I connect this to what I'm currently doing? And that is all based on the fact that you have choice, that you can yeah, it's not one and only one right way.
This reminds me a little bit of what you said when you first realized that when I look at numbers, I don't automatically know the best thing. Like I'm
Man, that was an
considering what
important
do I want
moment
to
for me.
do? What do I want? Yeah, how do I want to solve this? And then because I had choices, I could choose what I wanted to do in the moment.
Boy, that freed me up when you said that day. You're like, I don't know the right thing to do instantly. I try this, no, that, no, yeah,
Yeah.
that way. I was like, what? Because I was feeling less than. That I was having to try a few things to decide what I thought the best one was. When in reality, that was a mathematical behavior.
Yeah.
Bam,
Yeah.
cool.
You might have mentioned this one enough, but another thing you said was mathematicians seek to be clever. I don't know if
Mm.
you have anything to add to that one. I think you mentioned a little bit.
Yeah, maybe I'll just say seek not stupid clever, but seek to be efficient, but also seek to represent the relationships generally. Seek to be able to say, well, like make generalizations. That's part of being clever. They don't seek to just brute force
Yeah.
something. They're seeking to be, yeah, clever.
You know when I see this happen is in Math Strap Chat that you put out every Wednesday night. I
Mm.
sometimes see if the problem is quote unquote not challenging for
Mhm.
somebody, they own some strategies and maybe it's a two-digit addition problem or something, then they might go like, okay, I have some strategies, but now I want to play. I want to see what other relationships I can call on. I see a lot of people being clever with the way they represent things just because they can find the answer pretty simply, then it frees them up to mess around a little bit extra.
Yeah, could we
Nice.
shout out a couple people? I think Mariana often does that. Kathy Campbell, Karen Camp. Those are
Yeah.
a couple of names that come to mind that
Yeah.
often will put in. Well, here's my first one, second, third. Oh,
Uh-huh.
I actually like this one the most.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah, we love
Yeah.
that playing around.
Yeah.
Nice, yeah.
You also named that it was mathematical behavior to say, what do I know? I think we say that a lot.
Yeah, that really reminds me of my own personal kid who was like, "Come help me with this physics problem," and I said, "Go get your textbook," and he's like, "What?" I don't even know where it is. And I was like, dude, I haven't done this for a while. I don't even know. And he's like, well, just like dive in and help me understand the problem. And I was like, okay. So we started reading the physics, I think it was angular velocity momentum problem. And as we read the problem, and it was like, wait, so this, and okay, that's connect. Wait, I think it's like that, and this is connected to that. And by the time we kind of understood the problem, we had solved it. And I learned from him, like I can ask myself, what do I know here? Let's make sense of use what I know, get started, dive in. You don't have to wait to be shown, told, demonstrated steps to mimic. Yeah.
One more I wrote down was that mathematicians ask for more and they want to understand. That's a behavior that they have.
No, that's nice. Yeah. I mean, so often the older the student gets, the more it's like, just tell me how to do it. Just give me the steps. And I think we've ingrained that in kids because we haven't had this wide field of learning where they're clear that what mathing is making connections. So when we can make that's the sea that we're swimming in, then it's just curiosity blooms and they're realizing, wanting to understand and asking for more. That's absolutely a mathematical behavior.
And you and I each have a personal kid who may have not always been a favorite in class, but they do ask for more and they do want
Because
to
they
understand and
they
they
push.
don't give up when
Yeah.
somebody says it's just this. And I wish we could engender that in all kids, that you have a right to understand and you have a right to ask for more. so that you can understand how to math. Anyway, in this workshop, I was just really excited, and it was nice to hear you name those. I know you've done it, like I said, here and there, but I'd like to encourage teachers to take on this teaching move of naming behaviors when they see them, and encourage students to be thinking about what they can do. Some of these behaviors, there's more mathematical behaviors. Yeah, anyway, props to you.
Nice, thanks. So Kim, why name the behaviors in class? Like we're naming them in a workshop, like we're putting them out in front of teachers to say, hey, Pam did this, let's acknowledge that. So by doing that, we're kind of suggesting that, hey, you could name these mathematical behaviors in class. And I want to give some credit to Kristen Frang. I think she might have been the one who really got me. I think other people had said some things, you said some things, but she really got me kind of, I don't know, maybe there's a competitive spirit in me when she's like, I'm doing it. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to do it too. But as she was telling me the fact that, she would have these students and that felt so beaten down and I'm not good at this. And she would say, well, you're good at this part of it. Like that thing you just did, that's a mathematical behavior. That if we name those and make the doing of mathematics also to include the behaviors we've talked about today, that's going to bring in, it's going to make mathematics, and we're not blowing smoke here. These are real. This is real mathematical behavior. It invites more kids into what it means to math. That's one reason.
One of the things that I loved she did was I got to see her teaching some, and in the beginning of class, there were times where she would say, what mathematical behavior are you going to take on today? And the students would say to themselves and commit, today I'm going to ask for more. Today I'm going to seek to be clever. Today I'm going to
try to be curious.
And I think when you set that as a goal, that is, like we talked about last week, that's the explicit part. We're going to name these behaviors. We're going to say, this is a behavior that happens in a math class. You can do this, and we're going to name it for you. We're going to support you. We're going to encourage you when you do it, and it's going to create more behaviors that we want to support.
Which sends the message that these behaviors are figure outable. That this is part of mathing is not whether you're born naturally doing it.
Right.
It's we can all work on these and become better at them. And if there's one that you want to work on today, write that one down. Let's work on those.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in and helping get more mathematical behaviors in your classrooms and teaching more and more real math to find out to find out more about the Math is Figure Outable movement. Visit mathisfigureoutable.com. Let's keep spreading the word that math is figure outable.
Thanks for listening and making math more figure outable.
Remember, we'll be opening registration for the Math is Figure Outable Challenge soon. Mark your calendar for September 3rd through 5th.
Hop on our email list to get all the details. Sign up at mathisfigureoutable.com/get-newsletter.